Hi everybody, I'm Jack. This is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. I'm settled into my room here in San Jose in Costa Rica. Had a nice morning at the market today. It wasn't quite as crowded as it has been recently. It was a little bit of a slack morning at the market, and my raw vegan people weren't there, so I didn't get to eat at the market, but not a big deal. I still had a really good time there, walked around. Had a good smoothie, had a good green smoothie with some pineapple and celery and kale and something else in it. It was really good. Had some coconut in it too. And then I went and had lunch at my favorite little vegan restaurant, Mantras, here in San Jose. So it's been a good day anyway. This video here, I had this train of thought a few weeks ago, and I guess I just kind of lost it. Like I told you guys, if I don't write down my ideas all the time, I constantly have this iPhone with me with the Notepad open. Notepad is probably one of my most used apps on there, if that's actually an app. I might use terminology wrong when it comes to these smartphones. I'm not all that smart with them. But anyhow, what re-triggered doing this video was just actually something, I get a lot of video ideas when I'm listening to other people's videos, watching other people's videos, a lot of times when I'm just in the sun. And not necessarily, it's not like I see somebody do a video and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this video my way or whatever. A lot of times just one little thing they say in there sparks a title to a video. And yesterday I was watching Erin Valentine on Southern Fruity. I hope I'm saying your name right, Erin. She just said something, and that she said that phrase, and that phrase caught for the title for today's video is raw vegan is not a sacrifice. I've heard people talking about that in the past before, about making sacrifices for this lifestyle. And I guess it's all a matter of perspective, what you consider a sacrifice. For me, it almost like smacks me in the face and goes, what? A sacrifice? How can I call something a sacrifice that's made me feel the best I've ever felt in my life? I'm operating at 52 years old. I'm operating at a higher level than I've ever operated. When I was in my 20s and my 30s, 40s, whatever, I eat as much as I want. For the first time in my life, I don't ever think about restricting. If I want something to eat, I eat it. If I'm sitting in bed at night, before in the past, you can relate to this. You're sitting there, you're watching Netflix, or you're watching a movie or something. You're a little bit hungry after dinner, you want to eat a snack, you want to eat some dessert, but you're like, oh, I shouldn't really do this. On this lifestyle, there's none of that. Like, I don't like to go to bed, okay, just on that particular example, I don't like to go to bed with a lot on my stomach, and probably I'm not going to do that once or twice a month, but I can do it. I can eat all I want any and every day, and I do. I'm never hungry. I'm never restricting. This is the first time I've ever tried to be healthy that there basically was no limits, no rules. So yeah, I don't even understand how it could even be remotely called a sacrifice. A sacrifice is giving up things. Now I go, okay, granted, I always try to look at things from other people's perspectives, and I do realize, don't think I'm unaware that I have bizarre circumstances. I live a very weird life. I live a very by myself life. So I'm not involved. I don't have work obligations to go to. I don't have family. I don't have people asking me out to eat, and I don't have that. I guess in some ways you could say it's a sacrifice to your social life or whatever, if that's a big thing to you. But I don't even if I was a hugely social person, which I could see myself getting back to being more of a social person in the right circumstances, I still don't see having to sacrifice for it. Because if I'm going to interact with people that are not eating like I do or living the same lifestyle I do, I can do other activities with them. I don't understand, it's not like we kind of have this mentality like every time there's an activity there has to be food involved with it, and that we all have to be eating the same type of food, and we have to all be on the same page with food to enjoy an activity. And activity and food is totally different. So I could go out, I could totally be comfortable, and that's I guess gets to be where you're comfortable in your own skin in that particular example, because I don't, some people, it bothers them to go out and be different, to go out and not eat what everybody's eating, to You know, maybe people are focusing on you, and maybe it's your particular group. I don't know. So it could be tough with certain groups, but I don't care. You know, it's not. It's just. It's not a sacrifice. If anything, it's a privilege. I can't call something a sacrifice that has, you know, just led me to a clarity like I can't even imagine. I mean, I don't want to over exaggerate. I mean, in some ways I was a mess before, but in other ways I wasn't like a total mess. So I don't like to always, I don't want to give the, you know, make it look like that just because I drank a lot that I was just a hot mess all the time, you know. I kept my shit together. I was fairly responsible, but I wasn't happy. I wasn't healthy, and I wasn't moving I wasn't moving very well. I wasn't, you know, I don't know. Things just weren't clicking for me, and you know, the food's not everything. There was other changes. I mean, I was at a place in my life at the time I came to this lifestyle to make several changes in my life within my head and whatever. But the food just kind of, it paved the way. As my body was getting cleaner, my mind cleared out. It kept me, you know, the biggest thing I was thinking about the other night, so no, I will never call this lifestyle a sacrifice. The biggest thing I was thinking about the other night is, would I have stayed sober? Would I have stayed sober if I had not gotten into, you know, if I had really gone down this pathway of health? It's doubtful. It's doubtful because I had stopped, you know, something just really took this time, you know, the looking after my health, everything just shifted. You know, there was just a shift in consciousness when I changed the way I was eating. When I changed the way I was eating, it cleared out a lot of the fog in my head. It just, you know, it just brought me to a different consciousness. So, no, I mean, I'm just kind of rambling, but yeah, in no way, shape, or form could I call this lifestyle a sacrifice. And in some ways, this may be a little bit harsh, but if you consider this life a sacrifice, maybe you don't even deserve the things that we receive. You know, like I say, I don't want to. I'm going to end it here because, like I say, I'll ramble and I'll just exaggerate and I'll go on and on. But I just can't even imagine. Like it almost kind of frightens me not to think like, you know, whatever it was that. From jumping from one thing to one thing to one thing on social media that eventually led me to information about the raw vegan lifestyle. I mean, I kind of shudder to think about not having come to that, because that, for me, I'm not saying you have to be a raw vegan to have a certain type of life, but for me, that was a catalyst that made a big change in my life. So, no, I won't ever consider it a sacrifice. I'll always consider it a blessing, and it's just made my life better. You know, all the other things that you might think it was a sacrifice, if you look to other things that are false, that aren't really giving you true happiness, true health anyway. Anyhow, just a rambling weekend video. Hope you like this one. If you like it, give me a thumbs up. Hope you'll subscribe to the channel, and hope you're having an awesome weekend as well. I'm about to go get back out and go walk through the park a little bit. See you guys. Love you. Peace.